On a typical day, hundreds of workers would be stitching buttons, ironing clothes, and packing cartons to send off to clothing stores at this factory in Gujarat province. But it's been deserted along with other businesses here for nearly 2 months because of a government-enforced lockdown.
Each factory owner is losing at least $200,000 per month. And I think this lockdown will go on for another 2 months. So just the textile processing industry could lose $135 million.
The government says it's trying to help them and other companies by easing the lockdown and launching a $270 billion rescue plan.
This package is about 10% of India's GDP. It focuses on land, labor, liquidity, and laws to make India more self-reliant.
It's setting aside $40 billion for low-cost loans that it says will help up to 4.5 million small and medium-sized enterprises. $12 billion will go to the power distribution companies, and another $6 billion will be spent on non-banking financial companies that lend to businesses. The hopes of an economic revival are exciting investors who drove stock prices higher on Wednesday.
Well, market has reacted positively. As I'm talking to you, Sensex is up by 600 points. In spite of some bad macro numbers which we witnessed, we have still not received the GST numbers of April. So basically, amidst this problems of COVID-19 and I would say economic problem, social problem, and health problem, this was a sentiment booster from the Prime Minister.
The business closures have threatened the livelihoods of millions of daily wage earners in the country. Although the measures announced on Wednesday do not provide any direct relief to them, many are hoping the government's plan could help them get back to work soon. Mobin Nasir, TRT World.
And TRT World senior business producer Mobin Nasir joins us now from his home in Istanbul. Hi, Mobin. Now, this is a huge stimulus package relative to the Indian economy, around 10% of its GDP. Who stands to benefit the most from what Narendra Modi has announced?
Oscar, I think what we saw from the finance minister's speech also, the mention of the sharp fall in tax collections. In some states, we've seen tax collections in March fall by as much as 80 to 90%. What that clearly shows is that a lot of the businesses, especially the retail businesses and the small and medium-sized enterprises, have been withholding or deferring those payments, hoping to hold on to more cash in hand. And I think the measures that were announced today primarily will benefit those companies. Of course, they make up the largest chunk of the economy next to the farming sector. So some of the steps that have been announced definitely are going to help the smaller businesses in terms of helping them defer the payments for not just taxes, but also for utilities and other payments like loans.
Now, as you mentioned at the end of your story there, it's really the poorer Indians and migrant workers who've been hardest hit by this weeks-long lockdown, also because the measures were suddenly announced and all of a sudden these people were stranded across the country. So what's being done in this package to address them? Will they benefit from these stimulus measures?
Exactly. More to your point, Oscar, some collectives that were formed to take care of such workers, like for stranded workers, reported receiving thousands of calls just within hours of the lockdown being announced. And surveys showed that the majority of these people did not even have 100 Indian rupees. And in fact, the majority of them were also not able to receive payments through mobile networks or others. So definitely they were among the most destitute. And the government did early on announce some measures for them. For instance, the $2.6 billion that were given out in cash handouts to many of those people. However, the current announcement does not really include any immediate relief for those workers. Some steps might go to help them. For example, the support being provided to construction sector, of course, create many jobs for laborers. But those all seem to be sort of medium to long-term steps, not a lot of immediate support for the most destitute in this announcement.
Okay, Mobin Nasir in Istanbul, thank you so much for your analysis on that.